Yes, today we are going to talk about the hardest topic. This has totally left families separated, left kids frustrated, and according to the recent statistics and numbers indicate that this vice is rising at a terrible pace. We are discussing one of the sensational topic, divorce in Rwanda. What you risk if you get it wrong. I know many would say, that is one of the simplest things to get. And however, our law, specifically the Constitution of Rwanda, indicates that it really aims at family unification and continuancy. Even though the same law says both couples have equal rights at marriage and divorce. Several laws have been put in practice. Several conferences have been put together. And the law drafters are proving very smart to help the society thrive through the emerging trends. And one of them is that the recent numbers of divorce are skyrocketing. Now, here is a practical guide for someone who is planning to go through divorce. And these are the mistakes you have to avoid. Because if you don't avoid them, they always hit hard. I'm not going to say I'm the genius, I'm an expert, but I've been a divorce lawyer in Rwanda for the past 8 years. And from my practice, I've witnessed the following. I've seen people cry. I've seen people buying cakes, designing them, just divorced. I've seen people fighting to share the proceeds. And some have taken it a notch higher to say how much will those rings be at the market and how are we going to share them. This brings in a new thing. Can even wedding rings be shared at the divorce? That's the question for you and me. If you have an answer, come to my comment section. Now, divorce in Rwanda, today, it is governed by the law of 2024, which indicates that there are 9 grounds of divorce. Now, we are talking about the law, we are talking about reality and fact. My brother, my sister, if you're planning to divorce and you don't have any genuine ground, you will be risking too much. You can only get divorced in Rwanda on the following grounds. If there has been adultery, how do you prove adultery? There must have been issues regarding unfairness. There has been issues of cheating on each other, messages, screenshots, videos. All those ones can be used in court as evidence to prove adultery. And there's also what we call a flagrante delicto, where someone is caught pants down, red-handed, committing adultery. Mind you, adultery is a criminal case. It can even take you to prison. 6 months, you are there. And it can only be filed and discontinued by the other party. That means it's only the spouse who will file adultery. So, my neighbors, my concerned neighbors, you cannot file adultery case in court because you are not the injured party. Having talked about that, there are grounds like gender-based violence. I know in African mindset, in the African setting, men are abused. Some don't report. The same applies to ladies. There is this story in the neighboring country where a lady was saying that she had to wake up and put makeup while she has been battered during the night and drive together with the husband to the event. Like I said, give this podcast time because there is a lot to understand. That's why we are not rushing, because these are pertinent issues. Now, if you're going through that, please, you don't need to wait for another day. However, we are doing podcasts which includes the law. You will need to prove evidence. Try documenting facts. Try documenting those evidence. kindly, you can even report to the nearest authorities. You can even report to Rwanda Investigation Bureau. After that, you'll be having evidence once time for court reaches. Because one of the challenges people face in divorce cases is that some appear with no evidence. And the same law we are using says that he who alleges must affirm. You will not appear in your white shirt, nice suit, and you say, oh, boy, this lady has been slapping me all the night. It won't count. That lady won't say, oh, that young man was abusing me. So evidence carries the day. Whether you cry 1,000 times in court, you will not be given, or you will not be given that audacity. So one more thing is that there is adultery, there is cruelty, there is failure to provide household items. Some people don't leave money to take care of the family. And so they saw a ground on where someone has been convicted of a crime that is shaming the family. And one more article that was included in new law is that irreconcilable differences. That is provided for under Article 248I of the Law of the Family Law 2024. Meaning that where there is total breakdown and you're fidgeting or you're saying, oh, let's continue stitching it, we can still hold on, and you see it can no longer work, please. The law has given a green light that you can still move out on that ground. Now, that was an issue on if the grounds have not been stated. But then, if you file in the wrong court, you will also lose the case. Divorce cases are filed in primary courts. Period. Except where the law says otherwise. One more thing to know is that you cannot file a divorce case after 5 years. If the matter arose back then and you never complained, you never filed it anywhere, and you're coming at this time, there will be what you call lapse of time. That case may even not be admitted, or it may be dismissed by court. One more thing to note is that there are these issues regarding children and sharing of the property. Most people would say, innocent, who takes the children? We have a young boy, we have a young girl. Court does not give children because you're rich, because you are ABCD. Court considers what we call the welfare principle. What we say, the best interest of children. This is provided for under the several international instruments and our family laws in Rwanda. Therefore, whether you have 100 million on an account, you will fight to get custody. Because custody is not given by virtue of one's financial superiority, but rather by one's time accorded, given to the kids, given to the family, who does homework, who takes care of ABCD. Are you there when kids know you? Don't get surprised if you don't attend the birthdays or you don't attend the visitation at school. And then the same photos may be used against you. We are also having the issue of social media and trending and trends. With trends, some people are doing a lot on social media. My friends who use Snapchat, my friend who use TikTok like me, LinkedIn and several others, YouTube and the like. There is that video that will cost you custody. There is that video, I remember I was handling a certain case, and a party brought a video of someone twerking on the table while in the party, popping some expensive drinks and ABC. And the guy was like, with all due respect, my lord, I can't let my kid continue in the hands of this kind of a parent. It's not because the mother was not providing everything, was not providing anything, but it was because the way, the behavior in that video was used to challenge her capacity to be a responsible, capable, and a competent parent. Don't be that person. One more thing we can say is that today, sharing of the property under the Rwandan law, even if it is a community regime, the things have changed. My sister, my brother, you may have to wait for 5 years. If the other party during the case says we are not sharing this property equally, at some time, court may compel you to provide this evidence to justify your contribution. We've seen previously, like according to the past laws, we are not clear on that. And you could see one has been married 1 year, then he found a guy with the car, or they bought a car in 1 year, and someone is like, no, I'm out of this marriage, and the law says we are sharing. And one is like, bro, what are we sharing? What did you bring? But the law has made it clear that right now, if marriage had not gone beyond 5 years, one can contest it, and there is no equal distribution. But if you keep quiet, the law will be treated as it is. You will be sharing equally. But that one does not mean that we don't have to keep the sanctity of marriage. I'm a divorce lawyer, but I don't adjudicate for people to get marriage or for the family to break down. But I'm also here to give you the relevant information that will be prudent for you so that you don't fall a victim. Now, some people have taken it a notch higher that they have prenups. We have videos coming up on prenup. We have videos regarding surrogacy where we'll be having surrogate experts in line with the law. And we also break down the aspect of having a prenup. What should be in a prenup? Is it legal? How is it drafted? So people with prenups are not affected when it comes to sharing of the property because the law will have automatically talked about everything regarding how it will be executed after divorce. Now, I know many people have questions. How much is the cost of divorce in Rwanda? How long does divorce take in Rwanda? Typically, divorce in Rwanda takes between like 6, maybe even below 6 months, but I would say 6 months, less than 1 year. Yes. But this can be instigated by several other factors. Some files are complex. You find there are a lot of assets. There is need of review. There is need of carrying out expert report, evaluation report, and several others. And so it may take the case to stay a little bit longer in court. Also, some courts may be having a backlog. Backlog relates to a number of cases which have not yet been resolved by court. Also, we have to note that mutual consent divorce cases, that will be also a video on its own. Mutual consent divorce is where couples come together and decide to end their marriage in good faith by signing a divorce agreement, which is notarized at the notary, and it is shared to court to be taken on as a final verdict. This one literally takes little time because it is considered more or less as a mediation agreement. And so this one can be resolved very fastly, as opposed to the contested divorce, where couples have to file their evidence, have to file grounds, have to show their disputes, have to contest on sharing of properties, have to contest on custody. So these also may impact on how long a divorce case may take. So questions not answered today will be answered and discussed in our forthcoming videos. And please, if you have any other question, if we have not clarified your expectation, we also welcome advice, and we are ready and able to listen to each of you because we are good students, we are legal scholars, and no one will not benefit from this podcast unless you are not ready to learn. Because if you have something itching you, if you had ever had any question you wanted to ask in regard to our podcast, one thing I have to note is that I'm not a general practice lawyer. I'm a person who does immigration, real estate, family law, divorce, custody, business registration and compliance, and so legal consultation as well as legal representation and legal advice and the like. So any question outside that, you will ask us. We'll get you the seniors, the smart people to answer those questions for you. Trust me, we will not fail to get you the visitor who will answer that question for you. For that, I remain innocent, your lawyer. Please make use of me. Send me those questions. Send me those comments. I will be ready here to serve you. This is one of the most educative podcasts you are going to land on in regard to the law that will help legal scholars, law students, practitioners to have their time to showcase what they have and teach our community. Having said that, we remain here to help guide you, thrive, and enjoy the law. Thank you.